What is up? 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 What is up, Grocknation? Welcome back today to the arcade. It is day, as it is daytime outside. I actually called in from work today. I'm not feeling the greatest, so I figured it's been about a week since I put an ASMR video out for you guys. I just came back from the city looking for wedding suits. And yeah, that was most of my weekend, the last 4 days. I planned on putting out a video for you guys yesterday, but I was just feeling too damn ill. And I was actually just fooling around on the internet, and I checked Google Earth, thinking about maybe doing an ASMR video for you guys, and I realized Churchill, Manitoba was on there. Churchill, Manitoba was never on there before, so I'm like, okay, maybe I should do my Churchill tale now, and actually we'll do a Google Earth afterwards and show you guys exactly where I was living there and all these stories and whatnot. So I think that's what we'll do this evening, or today. Before we get started though, guys, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel and you like this flavor of ASMR, make sure to hit that subscribe button. With that being said, guys, let's dig into this story. Let's go. Okay, so my time in Churchill was a very bittersweet time for me. I kind of covered this on my life story video. You guys can feel free to check that out. I'm not going to touch too much on living with my aunt and that shit show abuse that was. But yeah, it was 2004, and I just moved there from my home in Meadow Lake following the death of my mother. She had died 3 months prior, and I got into a blow-up with my dad, which again I'm not going to touch too much on. You guys can see that in my life story video. And I had an aunt who was living in Churchill, who I would like to say, it doesn't sound right in the context, but she was grooming me, for lack of a better word, to move with her, to move to Churchill with her and her son. And after the fight with my father, she opened the invitation, and I accepted. Thank God my cousin Joey decided to come with me. My Auntie Arlene was smart enough to send him with me, knowing just how brutal this aunt of mine was in Churchill. Now this was a culture shock for me, and it would be for anybody that's never lived this somewhere like that. Churchill is this tiny little town on a peninsula of the Hudson Bay in northern Manitoba. I always say Manitoba's got everything but mountains. If Manitoba had mountains, it would have everything that Canada has to offer. But it doesn't. It does have polar bears, which not a lot of places in Canada do have. That's south of Manitoba, Hudson Bay. It's polar bear capital of the world, and that's all I knew when I was moving there. I didn't know how my experience was going to be there, or how different the people there were going to be compared to people I was used to talking to, like in regular, normal society, if that's the right word. I don't want to come off like these people aren't normal people. They are. They're just anyone that's ever been to an isolated community knows, everyone's kind of got their own way of talking, their own cliques, their own slang, so to speak, things along that nature. I wasn't prepared for it. So I think it was like an 18-hour bus ride from Meadow Lake through North Battleford, through Saskatoon, and then down to Winnipeg, up through Swan River, into the Paw, and then finally Thompson. Spent a couple days in Thompson, as my aunt was here for, she was covering like a bank position in Thompson, and we all got on a train, and I think it's like a 14-hour train ride from Thompson to Churchill. It doesn't look far on a map, but that train is so painfully slow. It slows down at every turn to keep from derailing, and the tracks are never ever flush. Permafrost really fucks them up. Actually, that train track was down for like 2 years. I think it just recently got back online. The damage on it with the permafrost and everything was far beyond repair, and there was a big fight in Canada about who was going to pay for the repairs So yeah, they didn't have a train for a while, which was crazy for their supplies and whatnot in town. So one of the first things you notice when you get to Churchill off the train, that's weird, is a lot of you'll see trees there, little pine trees, everything else. They're all half trees, like, it's weird. It's like someone went and shaved off one whole half of them. I don't know why this is. I don't know if it's wind or whatnot. Like, the whole town of Churchill is on tundra. But yeah, there's all half trees, half pine trees. They're never full pine trees. It's weird. You have to go into the woods to see those, or their version of the woods. We got there at the end of winter, and I come to find out it's like an ice desert in the wintertime, and it's like a summer desert in the summertime. Like, some of the hottest days in any summer I've ever had in my life were in Churchill, and vice versa. Some of the coldest days I've ever encountered were in Churchill as well. It's a tiny little town. It's got one main street and a few, like, I don't want to say residential areas, but like neighboring areas. And anyone that's lived in anywhere north of 60 knows how the houses look there. They're not like houses you have in regular cities. They're houses that are meant to survive, Arctic winds and Arctic weather and whatnot. So there's nothing fancy. They mostly look like duplexes, townhouse duplexes with heavy sheet metal on top of them all. It's very, kind of very depressing. I know a lot of cities that, have that kind of climate in the world. They like the color of the buildings, bright colors, to make it less drowsy. But at the time when I was there, they were all just dark, dark buildings. The place we stayed at, I can't wait to find it. It's on Google Maps. I literally just went on the main street of Churchill to see that we could actually call Google Maps for it now, and I backed out because I want to experience that with you guys. We'll look at that at the end here, but yeah, it was just a townhouse. Nothing fancy about it. My first day there, the next day I actually had to go to the school, and the school and pretty much everything in Churchill is in one building. There is a massive, massive building right in the middle of town. It's called the Complex. The high school's there, the elementary school's there, there's restaurants in there, there's a gym there, the library's there, the clinic's there, where you go see the doctors and everything else. Gyms, ice rinks, curling rinks, everything is there. Reason being is bears, polar bears. If you need to go do a bunch of things downtown during polar bear season, it could be dangerous. We're going to get to that later, about how ridiculously dangerous this town actually should be, but it really isn't. Most of that's due to parks, but basically, so you're safe. You go inside the complex, you go to the grocery store. There was a grocery store when I was there. There was a movie theater as well. Maybe you go to the gym, meet up with somebody for coffee at a restaurant in there. Yeah, everything's in there, including the schools. So I believe, what happened when I got there? I didn't need, I think I only had one class that actually I wasn't an upgrade, considered an upgrade, because I think I touched this on story of my life, but if not, I'll touch on it here. The school in Churchill's so small. The high school, anyway, it was called Duke of Marlborough School. And I think there was like 25 students at the time when I got there. That was it total. And that was 9 to 12. Maybe even 8 to 12, I can't recall. But the classes for the high school are so small that the kids have to like vote on their classes for next year. So if, say, example, you're in grade 10, you and your 3 friends are in grade 10, and they say, okay, you guys are going to need an English for next year. What English do you guys want? English Lit, English Tech, English what? You guys all vote on it. That's what they did. So I didn't get a chance to vote. Obviously, I wasn't there the previous semester, so I had to take whatever they offered, which was everything I had except for one class. A careers class, which we're going to completely skip out on the story because I did a whole ASMR video on that. It's called A Very Funny Story. If you guys haven't seen that, check that out. That is hilarious. But that was it. Everything else I had, so everything was upgrading. I should have just took that year off when my aunt refused. She made me upgrade, which was fucking so stupid. But my first experience in church, and one of my first stories I'm going to give you guys, was my very first day in class. I had to pick a locker, and it was comical because I think there was like I said, there had to have been roughly at most 20 kids. I'm trying to count now. 15 to 20 kids for sure, including myself, my cousin Joey, and my cousin Brian. I think my cousin Brian was downstairs. Joey was upstairs with me, I think. But we had to pick a locker, and there's like 100 lockers. So take your pick, right? I just picked one that was way off on its own. No one was around me because I didn't know anybody. So I picked one of those lockers. I had a little lock my aunt had bought me, and I locked my shit up, and I felt so out of place. The reason why I talk about this locker is by lunchtime I'd seen someone had moved their locker next to mine. I didn't pay any attention to it initially. One of the classes required us to go to the library, which is also in a complex. We just literally walked across the hallway to this massive library. Those of us that have been to Churchill, it's right underneath the big dinosaur slide, I believe it is. And I remember sitting at the computer there. We had to use the computer for something. And I want to say there's like maybe 6, 7 girls between grade 9, grade 10, grade 11 that were at that school at the time. I was the new guy, the first new guy since a Newfie kid. Newfie, for my non-Americans or Canadians, they are Newfoundland people. They're called Newfies. In grade 5 or something, Jason, his name was. I don't mind name dropping him because I don't have any stories about him. I was the first new guy. So I always tell this story because it's funny. They all took turns coming and sitting beside me and introducing themselves. They wouldn't even use a computer. They'd just sit there, they'd introduce themselves, and they'd leave. And they all took turns, almost like they was coordinated. I always say it was like an episode of The Bachelor meeting all the contestants. Funny enough, every single one of them came and hyped up their friend Sharon. That's not her real name. We're going to call her Sharon. And they hyped up Sharon. They'd be like, oh, Sharon thinks you're cute. Sharon likes you, blah, 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 all of them. I knew who Sharon was. She wasn't in that class, but I had met her. She introduced herself in a locker area. And she was pretty. She is pretty to this day. She looks like Métis Mandy Moore. I always say that. Identical to Mandy Moore. And I was like, well, that's very flattering. That's nice to know. The pretty girl in this school likes me, finds me attractive. Okay. You gotta understand where my headspace was at this time in Churchill. Because had I moved there and everything was perfectly fine, I probably would have went and told them, well, what do you think if I ask her out? Where should I take her? Blah, blah, blah. But no, I wasn't interested. I was grieving a mother still, not understanding how to do that. And I had a girlfriend I'd left in Meadow Lake that I was still talking to at the time. So I kind of was like, okay, I don't have time for that right now. I'm not even thinking of that right now. And as the week went on, they were getting pushier and pushier, and I finally told one of them, her best friend, I said, look, I like her and all, she's nice, but I'm not looking to date anybody right now. And that girl, it's like she hit a switch, and then she fucking hated me from that point on. I wouldn't say hated, but she was like spiteful towards me. We became good frenemies, me and her. Later on, as you guys will tell, you guys will hear, yeah, we became really good frenemies. If I ever have to describe my relationship with this Sharon, and I describe it to people all the time, when they ask about Churchill, because a lot of them know who she is, I say we are good frenemies. Now, she's got an amazing little family. She's clean now. I guess she had substance problems a while back, and she cleaned everything up, and she's living out west now, so she looks like she's having a really good life. Good for her, but I said I wasn't interested. And yeah, she was angry after that. One of the coldest things she did was she pulled me aside that first week I was there, and she was 16. She was 16. I was 17. And she told me, she said, hey, I gotta give you a warning because you seem like a nice guy. I said, okay. And she said, I gotta warn you about my friend Rose. She's not here this week. She's on vacation, but she'll be back next week. I gotta warn you about her. She's a really, 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 really big slut. And I was like, oh, okay. And she said, no, seriously, she has like gonorrhea or something. She gave it to so-and-so. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, thanks for warning me. She goes, yeah, very, very dirty. And I was like, oh, don't worry about it. So fast forward to that next week, and that's her best friend. She was out of town, and she obviously was insecure about her because she was very pretty. Nerdy though, like, in all honesty, and it's so funny now looking back on it, she was prettier than her friend Rose. But she was so sure, because I guess Rose had more of a developed body for a teenager, I guess. She had breasts, and she had hips and everything. And Sharon didn't. Sharon wasn't, like, flat or anything, but she didn't have the curves Rose did. So maybe that's why she felt intimidated by her. But I remember I walked into school and I was like, I've never met this blonde girl before, so I want to introduce myself. She actually introduced me, and she gave her a big hug. She called my best friend's back, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Okay, I figured out pretty quickly that she just wanted to tell me that so that I wouldn't go after her friend and hopefully go after her, probably is what was going on. Now, my locker situation. I became aware very early on that this very, very strange to this day, she actually lives in my town now, believe it or not, girl, unattractive. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, she's unattractive. But she's weird too, rudely weird, like rude as well. Put her locker right beside mine the same day I moved mine there when I got to the school. I didn't realize at first until I started going to my locker and I realized, why is she at my locker now? Like, so I moved my locker, and not even a day or two later, she moved her locker beside mine again. I'm not even bullshitting you. This is how strange this person is. So eventually, at one point, I was at my locker, and she was there, and she had her friend, and her friend was like this 6'5" giant girl, like bigger than me. Like, I'd have to look up at her. Like, that was like her muscle. And she told me, she says, Randy, I was grabbing my stuff. I'm like, yeah, like, I'm so, uneasy at this point, and so kind of weirded out. And I was like, yeah, I was grabbing my stuff. She said, so rumor has it around here that you got a crush on me, she says. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not true. Because, yeah, well, I'm just letting you know, you shouldn't flatter yourself, she says. Now, at this point in my life, not now, mind you, but back then, I was still my grandma's boy. A lot of people, my friends, have never seen this man. But I was a kid, I was still sweet, I was still kind to everybody, and I would hold my own and stand my ground, obviously still, but I was always kind. And I had to burst out laughing. I couldn't believe she said that. And I remember I kind of said, and I felt bad saying it as I was saying it, I said, okay, well, maybe you shouldn't flatter yourself. And then her and her muscle just started cackling. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life. My ribs were hurting. I was laughing so hard. And I went back to another room and I told everyone what had happened. And I changed my locker again. This time she didn't move her locker this time. But yeah, just kind of odd. The third day I was in Churchill. Maybe the second. My aunt told me, you need to get a job. Because she told me, you're going to start saving money for college. Which is bullshit, you guys will know right away. And I said, okay, so I scoured the town looking for jobs. Tundra Inn, everything. Most of them only hired during bear season. So I went to the big, massive restaurant in the middle of town, Seaport, a hotel. And I went in there and this nice little native guy with a mustache greeted me. And I asked where the boss was. He told me he was the boss, and I gave him my application, which at that point was only firefighting. And he asked me when I could start. I'd never served before. And I said, oh, whenever, tomorrow. So this beautiful native girl was waitressing with glasses on. And she introduced herself. Her name was Ashley. I don't mind name dropping Ashley. She's a sweetheart. I actually seen her at a Slipknot concert a couple years ago. She was a stay-at-home mom, but she was like a year older than me only. And so yeah, I got a job there serving. I worked there for the remainder of my time in Churchill. And really good stories working there. Before we get into stories, I kind of want to touch on what I mean when I say those of us that have never been to isolated communities. It was a learning curve. Because they have little slangs, they have little tics, little things they do among themselves that you're not privy to. Like, for example, sarcasm. I was a very sarcastic person. A lot of them didn't honestly know what sarcasm was. They had little, what's the word I'm looking for here, like old sayings and old things that at the time were old. Like the WhatsApp thing. They were still doing that back then. This is in 2004. That was from like 99. There was just things like that. It was very, very, I always say like their own little cliquey way of talking and whatnot. They would be really, really out of place if you were to put them like in a normal party in a city somewhere. They'd be the odd one out, unless they had somebody there that, was privy to their thing. So, in terms of the guys my age, I just kind of avoided them. There was two of them that were really good, Terrence and Steven. I didn't mind those guys at all. Most of the guys I've made friends with were older. Mostly because I was 17 for the first couple of months I was in Churchill, and then I turned 18. That's the reason why I got the job at Seaport Hotel. They wanted an 18-year-old because one of their kids had just quit, and you need to be 18 in Manitoba to serve alcohol. Fun fact, they stopped smoking in the restaurant my second month in Churchill. So if you want to age it and time it, that's when I was in Churchill when smoking indoors was banned in 2004. Because I remember my first month and a half there, I was still emptying ashtrays, and yeah, not anymore. You're not allowed anymore. But working there, it was great. The chefs were great there. The staff was great there. I should say the little native guy with the mustache that hired me was the mayor of Churchill, Mike Spence. He's still the mayor to this day. Still one of the most upstanding guys I've ever met. Such a nice man. He offered me to move in with him, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, good memories there. The staff was great. It's funny, that girl Rose that Sharon warned me about, they all see me working there, and they were all kind of making fun of me for working there. But after the first month, Rose applied, and Rose is working with me now. So I was hanging out with Rose all day. We became really, really good friends because we were the same age. She actually turned 18 3 months after I did. So I was like her 18-year-old wing buddy to go to the bars. And really, there's nothing to go to the bars for in Churchill. It's all the same people. It just depends on how spread out in Churchill they are. You might have 10 people in one bar, 5 people in the other. Like, oh man, I guess just buying booze and being 18 and going into the bar, I guess is all like you're pumped up for at that point. But yeah, she became a really good friend of mine. And then, sure enough, Sharon got a job there too shortly after, and she was working with us. And it was around this time, I think I was there for 2 months in Churchill, maybe 2.5 months. There was this tomboy girl, I think she was 16 at the time. She came into our store once, and it's funny, I think I told the story before, I might not have, but I tell the story quite a bit. It was the first time I'd met somebody who I'm like nowadays, like, by I'm like, I mean at work, when I'm around other coworkers my age. I work in a mine, obviously, blue collar humor and everything else. We don't talk like this in person or out in the world. I'm not Trump grabbing pussies is what I'm saying. We're not saying shit like that to one another. But he introduced himself. His name was Scott. I don't mind name dropping Scott. I don't think he has a Facebook. I don't even know if Scott's alive. And he was probably 33 years old at the time. He was early 30s for sure. Little guy with, I guess he used to have a ponytail, but it's gone now. And he had bright blue eyes, I remember. He introduced himself, and it was me and him working that night. It was the playoffs, and he was really watching Nashville Predators that playoff because a player from Rankin Inlet was in that playoffs, Jordan Tutu, and he knew him. So as we were taking orders, it was really dead that night. He kept going out and checking the score. I put the TV on for him on the game. These two girls came in. I can't even remember what her little friend name was, but I do remember her name. I won't say it though. I will say her nickname though. Everyone gave her. They came in though, and she was, like I said, I'd seen her out of school, and she's very tomboyish. She ordered a poutine, and her friend ordered whatever. I remember poutine because this is going to be her name for the rest of the story. Scott came out and looked at the score right when that girl got up and she was walking to the bathrooms. And I had noticed because I'm a man and I'm an ass man, she had a really nice little ass on her. And I didn't say anything, kept it to myself, and I went to the back, and I remember Scott was, like, doing a dish or something. He was washing a dish, and he looked at me, and he says, all nonchalant, like we've been friends forever, and then I would be okay with that. He says, that poutine girl out there's got a nice ass, eh? And I remember I was like, what the fuck? Like, she's like 16, this guy's like 33. I just remember I started laughing, and I was like, she does. He's like, yeah, she does, I said. And he goes, yeah. And then whatever. I didn't think anything of it at the time. I went and served them. They left, they paid, and they left. I went to go grab the plates, and she had actually wrote her number on the plates with ketchup. So I went and I showed him, and he was all proud and happy. He goes, here you go, Randy Boy. That was my name from that point on, Randy Boy. It became Cool Cat later on, but we'll get to that. And so I called her, we just would chit-chat. I think there was like a town hall meeting or something. Maybe it was election time, I'm not sure, but there was like a big meal in the town hall, which was, I believe was an actual hall, or was it the gym in the complex? It was in a complex regardless. And her and her friend were there. And as I was leaving, they came and caught me outside, and she asked me, hey, can you go and buy me smokes? Because you have to be 18 to buy smokes in Manitoba. So I went and I bought her smokes. And I remember she grabbed my hat. And I was like, come on, give me my hat back. And she just started giggling and running with my hat. And I'm like, come on. I watched that scene from House of the Dragon when she steals her guard's helmet. And it was this exact same thing. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Give me my hat back. I think I had to go to work. And she made me walk all the way to her house, which wasn't far. Because again, Churchill's not big. It was like not even a city block away, like down 2 alleys. And she had her annoying friend with her. And we got into the house, and they got me on a couch. They both had a leg up on a couch. And I got my hat back. And I knew that the other one was getting really handsy with me, and I didn't want nothing to do with that one. I liked the tomboy one. She was kind of cute, so. But I was really getting annoyed by the other one. The other one was very immature. She was probably younger. I don't know. But her mom came home, which I thought was super fucking awkward. Her mom turned out to be a librarian. And she was really nice, actually. She came in, she's like, oh, you're the bank manager's nephew, which is what I'm known as in Churchill at the time. I says, yeah. And she goes, oh, I'm so-and-so. And she said, oh, well, why don't you tell me you had friends over? And I was like, actually, I'm just leaving. I gotta go. It was nice visiting you, too. I said, and I left. And I don't know how much long after that was. When we used to walk home from the complex, we used to walk along the Hudson Bay. Actually, along the Hudson Bay. Sometimes you go fucking... It was odd for me, being an Alberta boy that had never been to any oceans yet. It was odd for me, like I'd go up to the water sometimes and I'd taste it and it was salty, and I'm like, this is so weird, this is the ocean. Big seals and shit would be there once in a while, and but we'd walk. And she would actually walk with us sometimes. I found out afterwards, obviously, that she doesn't need to walk that way to get home. It's actually longer, but she was walking because of us. And she used to like wrestle with me. She used to try to do things to piss me off to make me like get handsy with her. And one thing led to another one day. And there's this little caribou hall between the complex and where we lived. And I remember she pinned my back to it in one of our wrestling matches. And it was I think it was raining. It was like The Notebook. And she started making out with me hard, and then that was it. We started fooling around after that, me and the poutine girl. And I think she gave me a hickey or something. I went to the restaurant, and Scott was working. I told him what happened, and he was all happy. And then Sharon was there, and she found out, and she was like, oh my god, wait a second here. Someone else is dating this guy, not me. Who could this be? So it was killing her. She wanted to know. She was begging Scott to tell her. Scott wouldn't tell her. It was like maybe 2 days later. I was, this is what I mean by me and her were frenemies. It was during one of the classes, and we both left the class. We were sitting out by the glass looking over the Hudson Bay in the complex, and we were allowed to do our work out there when we had work on our own time the last half hour or so. And she was being really nice and asking about my mother and my life back home and all this. And when we would work together at the restaurant, she was such a sweetheart. I I was like, man, if this person was like a cousin or like a sister even or something like that, I could open up to this person really, like, because I was hurting inside. I didn't know how to express it and everything else. And or if she was just not as cruel as she was, maybe I could date this person. Obviously, I was thinking Putin girl at the time, but and then something bitchy would come out always with her. And in this scenario, she was in between talking. She was asking me when the last time I seen so and so. She was listing off all these girls, and I realized she was buttering me up to get me to answer questions about where I was the night before. And she was scratching out girls' names, trying to narrow down a list about who this girl was that gave me the hickey. And that's when I realized, and I remember I was like, oh my god, get a life. She was so bitter. I think they found out eventually. They got her drunk. Something happened where they were convinced it was her. They narrowed it down. She narrowed it down. And yeah, she broke her while they were all out drinking together once. But my time in Churchill at this point was a real coming of age. I was living on my own for the first time. Obviously, as a teenager, that's kind of fucked up, but at this point, I think I'd had 2 girlfriends in my entire life. Both of them were from Meadow Lake when I was living there. And I was really starting to dabble into, not Playboy, but like, I always say, I hope I never have a daughter. I've broken so many hearts. And it's not even like, it's funny when you say it when you're younger, but as you get older, you realize it's nothing to be like proud about or happy about or funny about. But I was in that phase where I was girl crazy. So even when I was fooling around with the Putin girl, I was fooling around with another girl. She was older than me. She was 21 actually. She was the doctor in Churchill. She was the doctor's daughter. That came up from Winnipeg. She was actually in the military at Winnipeg, and she came up to live with him for the summer and make some money. So she got on at my restaurant waitering. I don't mind saying her name. Her name was Sasha. So we started fooling around a bit, me and Sasha. And I just liked it because it was exciting. She was older. I was 18. She was 21. The fucked up thing was her dad was dating a 19-year-old, so he was dating someone a year older than me. That was 2 years younger than his daughter. And the guy was like, he was probably 51, 52, maybe 49 at most if I look back on it. He was older. I always say he looked like Bryan Cranston when he was Tim Watley, as sexy Tim Watley in Seinfeld when he opened that business, because he always had sexy shirts on, this guy. So I was fooling around with her for a bit. And then at some point, I guess he had told her, he got in her head that I was telling people, that I was gonna, when I was going on dates with her, I was gonna get laid and all this stuff, which was absolute garbage. I don't know where on earth he would have heard that from if he was just lying to tell her that so she'd stop seeing me. She questioned me and I told her it's not true. I can't remember how it started. I think we were fooling around in her bed. And she had an old school bed, like a squeaky as a motherfucker. And it was so awkward because they were gone for the night, she told me, and then they came home. So we were just fooling around in the bed. And they were going to bed at the end of the hall, this old man and his 19-year-old girlfriend. It was so fucked up. But then he came and knocked on the door and he's like, I think it's time for you to go home, he said. And I was like, okay, like, I guess I gotta go. Your dad says I need to go home. And he's like, and I'd appreciate it if you stopped talking foul about my daughter around town. I was like, I never said anything about your daughter, which I didn't. And I told her when she was walking me out, I'm like, I don't know, she goes, don't worry, I think he just doesn't want us seeing each other. And then she just started bashing me after that. Not bashing me, sorry, she started being a bitch to me at work. And I was like, okay, I don't know what your deal is, but whatever. And I kind of moved on. But the one nice thing my aunt ever did for me, probably the only nice thing, especially while I lived there, that Dale would have to go and deal with them because I was the only bank in Churchill, and she gave it to him when she was dealing with me. And actually, our timekeeper, who was also his secretary at the clinic, gave it to him as well because she knew me as well. She told him it's bullshit. How could you say that to me? He's a nice kid, blah blah blah. And I was happy. That felt good. I didn't do anything to garner any of that. And there was this Rankin Inlet girl I fooled around with. I'm not gonna get into that. Too much of a TMI story though. But yeah, like Churchill for me, it's like for that was really coming of age. I really drank a lot when I was there. I always say my alcohol tolerance at 18 was more than I'll ever be for the rest of my life. I literally would drink every day of the week. I would drink on school nights. It would be all sorts of parties. Even during bear season, it was silly. A siren goes off every day, even in the off season. I don't know why they don't turn it off in the summer, but at 10 o'clock at night and during the bear season hours, that's an alarm that says stay indoors now. You are not to go out after this because it's dangerous. These man-eaters are walking through town. Now we should probably get into the bears. So Churchill is on a migration path of the polar bears. What happens is they come along the coast of the Hudson Bay, they come through Churchill, and they wait for the ice to freeze in Hudson Bay, and then when the ice freezes, the Hudson River freezes first, and then the bay freezes. They get on the ice and they fuck off back north. But for that time being, they outnumber the Churchill residents 10 to 1, so 10 bears per one person. That's how much bears there are. Most of them do stay in a bay, especially the older ones. They cross over outside of town to get to the other side of the bay. But a lot of the younger ones, and even some of the older ones that just don't give a fuck, they walk through town. And what happens is, Parks Canada darts them. That's worst case scenario. Usually they chase them with banger guns, like big firecracker guns on their trucks. And the bears will run back into the water, or they try to chase them onto the other side of the bay where they're going. Worst case scenario, they dart them. And they get a big net. Sometimes they put them in the back of a truck, but most times they get the big net. And a helicopter airlifts them out by the airport, and there's Polar Bear Jail out there, which is a big steel, like, shed. Looks like a little airport hangar. I don't know if it's changed over the years. And, yeah, they put them there. And they keep them for 24 hours, I think. They don't give them any food. They give them water, that's it. Because if they give them food, they'll want to get captured. Again, so they can get a free meal. So then they release them on the other side of the bay, and usually they'll just they paint them, spray paint them, and usually they just go on their way. They don't come back. But, yeah, when that siren goes off, you should not be on the streets. It's happened before where I'm running home, drunk, out of my mind, trying to run so I don't get caught. And, I actually ran past a garbage bin that a bear was digging in, one night, right near my place. Across the street, there was a garbage bin. It was tipped over, and he was eating out of it. I got to my aunt's step, and he heard me slip on his step, and he went running down the alley, and I rushed to go to the door, and my stupid fucking aunt locked the door. You're not supposed to lock your doors or your vehicle doors in Churchill. You can actually get a fine. I believe you can get a fine. You're never, ever supposed to lock your doors in case someone needs to run inside for safety. There's been tales of people coming home, though, and their doors ripped off, and their kitchen's torn apart. A bear gets inside, right? So it's kind of creepy that way. There was a big attack on a university kid not that long ago. He actually tore the top of her skull off, like scalped her, basically. And she survived somehow. I think another guy fought it off and he died, I think. And then another guy in a truck was able to scare it away. They're fucking massive, man. If you've never seen a polar bear in person, it takes you back. They're the biggest bear in the world. And it's weird. When they first start coming in Churchill, it's like it's a word of mouth thing. It's almost like a slow alien invasion. So-and-so seen a bear here. So-and-so seen a bear here. I remember the first night I was getting off work, and the mayor of Churchill, my boss, Mike, was at the front door. He says, I'll give you a ride home. And I says, why? What's the issue? He goes, well, there's a bear. He was seen on Main Street, so I don't want you walking home. And he gave me a ride home. That's why they have a school bus for the kids around bear season, because despite, the school being a stone's throw toss from most everyone's places, you don't want anybody on the streets if you don't have to be, which is crazy because tourist season, there's like 1,000 tourists in that little town, if not more. I don't know the numbers. It's crazy. It looks like Banff or Jasper or Aspen. They're everywhere. Now the restaurants are packed. My restaurant was packed. Crazy tip money you'd make, but I left right in the middle of it all, unfortunately. so I didn't get all of it. But that's why people go and work there during bear season. You get a commission off of the tour company's tips they give. We'll feed a tour company for an entire bear season, and they might give a $10,000 tip or a $5,000 tip to the restaurant, right? Because those tourists don't tip us, the company does, and then we split it with everybody. So at the end of a tour season, you might make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 at your big check at the end. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting place. You know, you just get used to it after a while. Maybe you're walking to work, helicopters flying by with a polar bear hanging underneath it. You know, you hear banger guns at all hours of the night. I'll never forget looking out my back window, hearing a banger gun, and just barely seeing a polar bear running down the coastline of the Hudson Bay with a truck chasing him, shooting a banger gun at him. And I'm like, where am I living? Yeah, it's crazy. Summer months, you have the beluga whales come through there in a bay, and you could swim with them. I went swimming with them with a couple of my friends of mine. Her dad owned a tourist company, so we got wetsuits and I'm not sure what, I think it's a Zodiac, I can't remember the boat, the inflatable big industrial looking boat. We went out there and we would snorkel with them, and I was freaked out. I didn't snorkel with them very long. They did. But yeah, it was quite an experience. When I had the opportunity to move out, though, I took it immediately. My aunt had told us she had a job offer in Thompson, and when she was asking us if she should take it, I said, hell yes, take it so we can get out of here. Like, it's not for everybody. For me, growing up in a city and then a little town, or like Meadow Lake is a city too now, I like the convenience of, things, being able to go out and get groceries. The only grocery store in Churchill is a Northern store, and it's a fucking expensive ass fucking store. I'm talking like $5 chocolate bars. I like being able to go to the movies. The movies in Churchill were like a year late. I'm not bullshitting you. We watched Troy when it was already on DVD. That's what was showing in the movie theater. Yeah, I like the convenience of like not living isolated, and you're very, very, very isolated there. So yeah, if there's any other stories I need to touch on, I might touch on them during this Google Earth adventure. I really want to look at this with you guys and kind of point some things out. I think you guys will enjoy this. I know I'm going to enjoy it because I haven't seen this place in a very, very long time. But with that being said, let's get to the Google Earth of Churchill. Okay, guys, so let me give you a little tour of Churchill, Manitoba by first showing exactly where it is. So this is the Hudson Bay. It attaches to the ocean, goes out to the Labrador Sea, the Greenland Sea, Northeastern Passages up here as well, straight to the Arctic. This is all ocean water. And way up here on this little peninsula is the little town of Churchill, right on a peninsula. And you see this Churchill River. This freezes first in the winter. It spreads out here, and then it all freezes. It all spreads out and freezes. All of this. It's a continent of ice. You can walk across this in the winter. It's absolutely crazy. It's an ocean. It's a little mini ocean. Regardless, though, let's get back to this. So, there's the train system. You take all along the Churchill River. You take it from Thompson, which is way the fuck down here. Wait, where is Thompson? Oh, right here. There's my cabin right here, you guys. That's my cabin. But anyway, from the city, you take the train. You go up all along the Nelson River, all the way up here. Well, you cut across here, sorry. But this is why it's such a slow train. You're going across all these little lakes, all along the tundra. Canada has massive amount of lakes, and Manitoba has one of them. One of the most. All of this right here is remnants of the last ice age. We're getting into history lessons here, though. That's not what we're about. So you take the train all the way up here. You land in the town of Churchill. Where should we start our journey? I'm so excited that this is here, you guys. This is the airport. I don't want to go. Where's the town? Can you? Is it way out here? Oh my god, they have this way out here. Yeah, so this is the airport, or the road going into the town. Oh, this is so crazy. I haven't seen this, you guys, in 20 years. Literally 2004 to 2024. Last time I seen it. Oh my god. Looks like a taxi. I wonder if Brent Beaton's still doing the taxi. Oh, they're behind them. We're going backwards. Let's go back. Take forever to get to town from there. I think this is the Arctic Research Center. We used to drink here. Let me see, guys. Can I go here? Oh no, it's okay, so it's kind of off the path, I think. I didn't think so because it's kind of a dirt road, yeah. That's the Arctic Research Center. It's always open year-round, obviously, because you can't lock your doors. And we used to drive up there and drink up there. They have pool tables in there, fridges. We used to stock beer in there. It was like our own clubhouse. But yeah, the Arctic Research Center. Kind of like the Thing. I'm not sure what any of this is, to be honest. I didn't spend much time outside of the town. Dog sledding. I think this is Brian Ladoon's fucking old area. He's long dead. Yeah, the road ends here. It only goes like up to here. Yeah, see, and it's done. The only way to get to Churchill's planar train, you guys. There's no other way. But let's get into the town. Let's stop right here. Okay, now we're in the town. We're just entering the town. No polar bear signs. Actually, this might be a polar bear sign here for you guys. No. No signs. So Churchill, most of the kids I didn't touch on in Churchill are actually rich kids for the most part. Their parents are in the tourist industry and they either own restaurants, touring vehicle companies like Tundra buggies and whatnot, taxi services to the airport, cargo companies, shit along that nature. What is this? Oh, the RCMP. Okay. I thought they were by the school. Let's keep going. I think Daly's tour shop we're coming up on. John Daly was famous for taking his this is almost like a home hardware, I believe. We went in there for some tools once. Dog sledding from Churchill all the way to Winnipeg. It was pretty neat. But yeah, these are what I'm talking about. These are the kind of housing you're gonna get in Arctic homes, right? You're not gonna get normal looking houses and shit. Oh god, I think this is Daly's tourist shop right here. Yeah, it is. What's going on here? Oh my god, do not tell me this is as far as it goes, you guys. I'll fucking cry if it is. It's not possible. There we go. Yeah, that's Daly's. There's his dog sleds. That's his gift shop. 2013 this is, so this is not that. I was gonna say not that long ago. That's 9 years ago now, guys. Oh my goodness. So you know it should still be here. That's not here anymore. I almost think it was right here, but don't quote me on that. It was a great little restaurant that, in my opinion, to this day, my cousin Joy is still chasing their poutine. It was called Gypsy's Bakery. Made amazing burgers, amazing poutines. We're gonna stick to the main street right now. It's cutting us off again. When it gets to the tee off, it kind of cuts us off. I'm still cut off. Here we go. See if I can recognize any of these people. Guys, I think Gypsy's is gone. I don't remember what year it burned down, but it burned down. A Greek family, the Silvas, owned it. Is this it here? if it is, I gotta tell my cousin Joey he can still see gypsies on Google Earth. That might be it. But again, we're cut off here. I'm sorry guys, I don't know what's going on with that. That's kind of annoying. This is gypsies. That's not gypsies. I don't know what that is. Yeah, gypsies is gone. We'll just rename this part of the video, Where's Gypsies? And we're cut off again. Weird. Weird. What's being built here? Oh, there it is. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta tell my cousin Joey. It's still there. It's gone now, guys. It's burned down now. I was gonna say I thought it burned down like 2015, 2016. Oh, that's so sad. That a Silva family owned this. Used to love going there for day olds. Ugh. Putin girl lived right here, by the way. And we still can't move. This is weird. They're not even giving me arrows anymore, guys. Here's my restaurant. There it is, guys. Seaport Hotel. This whole outside dining area wasn't there when I was there. That's the bar entrance right there. I don't know what this is. Some decorations. I would love to go inside there again. My fiance's begging me to go to Churchill. I don't know, maybe one of these days. I just can't bring myself to, go back. It's so expensive and accommodations are crazy there, although I'd want to stay here. Okay, so I just checked and unfortunately, sometimes they don't do the driving pictures for Google Earth. Sometimes they're just snaps at, I guess, intervals. Maybe they're walking, but that's why sometimes you can't move the arrow up. We just gotta keep doing this, which is kind of annoying. Kind of takes away. There we go, it's back. Certain parts of it don't have it though, which is weird. This wasn't here when I was there. The train station is up here. Well, let's keep making our way down Main Street. Oh, suddenly it's a snowstorm. And we're back to having to do this. Oh, now it's not a snowstorm. Who are these guys? That's crazy. Whenever you're in Churchill, there's always something going on. That's just something you get used to after a while. This is the Tundra Inn. Oh, Iceberg Inn, okay. They used to make really good clubhouses. I've served National Geographic photographers. They were there to take pictures of Arctic hares. They actually had the National Geographic tags on and everything else. That's what they were built for. Or they were built. Their billing was for National Geographic, their tabs and everything. It was pretty cool. That's the Northern. Like I said, $5 chocolate bars, fucking $10 2-liter pops. It was crazy. We used to get our haircuts here in the lobby of this hotel. They get a hairstylist would come up once in a while, and everyone in town would go and get their haircut. Okay, let's see how long this lasts. We're coming up on another hotel here. Churchill is all hotels, you guys, all hotels, because they're in such high demand at tourist season. There's 3 hotels right there. Tundra Inn. This is the Polar Bear Inn. The Hub is right there. My friend Rose's old house used to be back there. This is like a trader. Yeah, Arctic Trading Company. What the hell was this up here? Where are we? There was a guy, this is here, Hiska. There was a guy who used to work there called Dick Hunter. And I remember going to ask for a job here when I first got to Churchill. And there was Malamutes outside, like a bunch of Malamutes. And he kicked one. They went crying, like it was bugging him, like they were trying to bum food or something. And I remember I told someone that story afterwards, and they said, yeah, it's Dick Hunter. And I said, really? What a dick. So, I think I heard that Northern Lights pop burned down, which is out here. I probably should have mentioned that Churchill has a massive shipping port that was out of business, obviously, while the train tracks were down. Oh, someone's really walking out here. Like during bear season, you should not be walking out here. This clearly isn't bear season, I don't think. But yeah, you definitely should not be walking out here. Let's go look at the port. That's pretty neat. This all looks new out here. I don't remember any of this. I wandered into this port with some girls while I was in Churchill. I think we were drunk because it's not run 24/7. Like it's kept in care and maintenance basically. I don't know what building that is. Yeah, that Northern Lights restaurant, I'm pretty sure is burned down now. That is still there. It was filled with asbestos when I was there. It was someone's hotel they tried to build years ago, and I guess it just got riddled with asbestos. I thought it'd be torn down by now. Maybe that's why it's not torn down. Maybe it's because it's covered in asbestos. But yeah, there's the port. I remember in the summertime, massive ships come through here to pick up shit. All the wheat and all the stuff you see coming from all across Western Canada, if it's going overseas, it's coming here and getting shipped out over to Europe. Okay, I need to see if I can see that building in here. We're getting up to the edge of town where we used to drink. We can't go right up to it. Here we go. It's abandoned. Yeah. Someone told me it was a hotel. It kind of looks like an old school now, and I looked close to it. I'm surprised I never ventured out here. I'm really surprised. Yeah, I really thought it must be covered in asbestos. That's why it's not torn down. I'm curious as to what that is. I was always told, under the impression it was a hotel. We're going up to Paradise City here, I think, which is not where I want to go. You're going Grock. You cannot tell us you're going to Paradise City and then not tell us what Paradise City is. Fine. Paradise City is this over here. These rocks. There's beach in these rocks. That's where we used to go and drink. Which was incredibly fucking stupid, especially the months we did it in when bears are literally roaming all around here. There'd be like 20 of us drinking out here. It's called Paradise City. What is down here? Why is that on a map? Oh, this might be Brian's old sheds. Or Brian's old cabins. If you guys ever watch any documentary of Churchill up until maybe 5 years ago, I think he died 5 years ago, maybe longer than that, maybe even 10. You'll see Brian Ladoon and his dogs. If you've seen videos of dogs in Churchill playing with bears, those are Brian's dogs. Here's another place we used to drink. I'm not sure if we can get to it from here. It's all on this coastline right here. They used to drink right here. I can't get to it though. What is out here? Yeah, we used to drink down here. Oh my god. I've walked around here before. It's like I'm going back in time. Yeah, Churchill wasn't here the last time I checked Google Earth, which obviously was pre-2013. I'm not even sure what this is. I don't remember this. No, I don't remember that. Okay, so we're kind of getting out of town here. But yeah, we used to drink here. We used to drink up here in Paradise City, which is somewheres here. I December, me and Rose taking one of her bombardiers over here, just fucking shit-faced. Okay, before we touch on the complex, which I really want to touch on, let's go to my house. Let's start from right here. This is so funny. So there's that hall, you guys, where Poutine Girl took me behind. This one here. Caribou Hall, yep. Right behind there, facing towards Hudson Bay. That's the Hudson Bay back there. See? And we used to walk out this back door and we walk along here in the winter time. All along here, and then we'd cut through. But we lived right here. It's a really depressing looking fucking place. Oh no, I have to do that thing, don't I? Yeah, I do. Looks like a cop lives there now, though. Yeah, a cop lives here. This was at 104. I'm not even sure what this is from 2020. These pictures. I'm not even sure what the street's called. I guess I could see. I don't really care. We lived right here. My bedroom was oh boy. There's stairs coming up this side. Go across. Oh. My bedroom was on that side facing those houses over there on this right side. And this over here is where I seen the bear getting chased. Right up here on these hills. And I seen it from this window here. Weird place, man. It was somewhere here he was getting chased. Firecracker gun shooting at him. Yeah, right there. I used to make out with Poutine Girl back here every day. Where's the fort? That's Brian's fort he tried to build. He was trying to build it. I don't think we can go to it. Okay, let's go back to the complex now. We'll start from here. I think this is a post office now. Eskimo Museum. 2013, I was gonna say it's probably not called Eskimo anymore. This is the post office? Huh. I thought that was the post office. And here's the beginning of the complex. Whoa, they made a big addition on here. This never used to be here. So that's new. We used to enter these doors over here, which would take you past the hockey rink. The skating rink, curling rink, all that jazz. My friend Gunnar used to live right here. We used to go drink at his place. Let me see if I can see the back. We used to drink on his roof. It was actually his parents' place. They would leave. Yeah, we used to come out this door. And we'd all be standing on here drinking. I remember getting hammered walking back from my bar, where I worked, and walking past here, and they'd all be screaming at me to try to come join them, but I'd be like, man, even back then as a young guy, I'm like, I like my sleep, and I'm pretty fucking shit-faced. I don't want to be. I was a beat-up truck. I don't want to be too hungover. So here's the mini complex, or whatever this is called, where World Bank's still there. That's where my aunt worked. My cousin's there. The post office is in here now. My cousins used to work in the video store in here. There's a bathroom. I used to take some girls in there too. That's one of those TMI stories I don't want to get too much into, but let's get to the front of the complex here. So here it is. Yeah, they added on to the school. This never used to be here. You used to go in here. The top floor up here was the high school, and the bottom floor was the main area. Duke of Marlborough School. And then you go underneath the tunnel. This is the clinic over here. I'm pretty sure this is the clinic. If not, this is. We used to go eat in the cafeteria here once in a while. Yeah, the ambulance is over here. Ambulance station. The clinic's over here then. I'm not sure what that is, what this part is here inside. But like I said, there's everything in it. Restaurants, movie theaters, gyms, coffee shops. Come over here to the northern. Let me see if I can take you guys to the Prince of Wales Fort. Oh, where's that fort? Is it up here? is. I don't think we can see it though. Oh, we can. Okay, perfect. So you guys can actually see this if you're there. I went there once. The old fort. Pretty neat. Everyone who goes to Churchill should come and see this. It's actually pretty cool. Yeah, this is where they used to like guard the port back in the day. Man, such a weird. We used to go swimming up here. Believe it or not, you could swim in Churchill. Was it here? I can't. It was over here somewhere. We used to go swimming. Man, we used to venture far in this fucking town with how dangerous it was. Surprised not more people get killed. Is there anything else I want to see in Churchill while I'm here? You know, seeing this, in all honesty, really doesn't make me want to go and visit it. That's not true. Maybe for a weekend or something, go and see if I can meet up with some old friends, but yeah, like this is how it looks, guys. It's like I said, super exciting if you're into outdoorsy stuff and curious about seeing polar bears. It is an interesting place. My God, I remember running through here just hammered trying to get home to beat the buzzer, which I think might be that. That might be it. Just looking down random streets here. I think this is where that attack happened with that bear. It was right here on this side of town somewhere. But anyways, guys, so let's show you the train station before we take off here. It's a really nice train station. I think this is it here. No, this isn't it. Maybe it's not on here. It'd be ridiculous if it's not, because it's a really nice train station. Here it is. Yeah, it's a really nice old school looking train station. Train comes in here. This is where we said our goodbyes to everybody. Oh, I forgot about this part. This is the old Churchill, like the very first settlements. We used to drink on these coastlines too in the summertime. One of the dumbest things I'd ever done in my entire life was with my friend Rose. We were hammered one night, and we finished drinking at our hotel. The Seaport Hotel right here. This is it, right? Yeah. And we walked all the way through here, cut through the train station, and then we cut through all this. This is only like shoulder-high brush. This is like prime bear area right here. This is where they chill and relax. And we cut all the way through to get to the party right here because we didn't want to have to walk all the way around. Man, we could have been killed. It was so stupid. Remember, she was holding on to my arm real tight. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to leave her if something happens here. I actually want to see if I can see the back of this hotel. That's the back of the bar. I want to see if I can see the back door. I got a funny story for this. Yeah, there we go. So I used to, the cooler for all the drinks and everything are right to the right of this door. You go inside, it's right to the right. I remember every day, and this is how smooth of a criminal I was so stupid. Again, a 17, 18-year-old kid. I used to stock the Ocean Spray cranberry juice, and I liked the cran grape. So I used to steal a bottle every time I do it, and I'd drink it at this back door, and then I'd put the bottles underneath here, smooth criminal. Of course, my boss, Mike, after a while, he noticed there was like fucking 30 things under there after a month, and he knew. He asked me on it, and I buckled. I said, I'm sorry. And he told me not to do it again, or he'd have to fire me, so he gave me a deal. That's the back of that building, which looks exactly the same. Okay. Well, guys, that's gonna be it for my adventure in Churchill and my stories in Churchill. Hope you guys enjoyed this little time travel back in time for me. Or this travel back in time for me, as it really was. I haven't laid eyes in this town in over 20 years, so if you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down below. So with that being said, guys, have a great day, great night, whatever it may be, and peace.